This is the Sabbath School lesson for the fourth quarter, 2020.
Lesson 1 for September 26 to October 2, Education in the Garden of Eden. Monday, September 28, Intrusion. One of the great joys for many teachers is assembling their classrooms, hanging bulletin boards, organising supplies, and arranging the rooms in the most desirable way. When we look at God's vision for the classroom, that was the Garden of Eden, we see the care he took in preparing a learning environment for Adam and Eve. He desired beauty to surround them. We can imagine that every flower, bird, animal, and tree offered an opportunity for Adam and Eve to learn more about their world and about their Creator. Yet there is an abrupt shift from Genesis 2 to Genesis 3. We have taken inventory of all the good that God created with divine intention, but in Genesis 3, verse 1, we also awaken to God's provision for free will. The presence of the serpent is more subtle than any beast of the field, is a departure from the language heretofore used. Such words as very good and not ashamed and pleasant are adjectives used to describe God's creation in the prior chapters. Now, however, with the serpent, there is a change of tone. The word subtle also is translated in some versions as cunning. Suddenly, a negative element is introduced in what so far has been only perfection. In contrast, Genesis presents God as the opposite of cunning. God is emphatically clear about his expectations of the pair in the garden. We know from God's command in Genesis 2:16 and 17 that he has established one key rule that they must obey, and that was not to eat from the forbidden tree. Whatever else we can take from this story, one thing stands out. Adam and Eve were created as free moral beings, beings who were able to choose between obedience and disobedience. Hence, right from the start, even in an unfallen world, we can see the reality of human free will. Question. In Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 to 6, examine the descriptions the serpent used and that Eve then repeated. What do you notice about the information that the serpent offers Eve? What do you notice about how Eve then regards the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Genesis 3, beginning in verse 1. Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, Has God indeed said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, We may eat the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, You shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Then the serpent said to the woman, You will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat of it your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. She also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. In Genesis 2, verse 17, the Lord told Adam that if he ate from the tree he would surely die. When Eve, in Genesis 3:3, repeated the command, she did not express it as strongly, leaving out the word surely. In Genesis 3:4, the serpent puts the word back in, but in an utter contradiction to what God had said. It seems that though Eve was taught of God in the garden, she didn't take what she learned as seriously as she should have, as we can see from the very language she used.
Hi there. Thanks for watching this video on the Advent-band Ministries YouTube channel. Please subscribe and click the bell icon to be alerted whenever we upload new videos. So, until we meet him in the clouds, may God continue to bless you.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind and Hearing Impaired, Christian Record Services for the Blind, the Sabbath School Department, and Hope Channel. You can also listen on the official Sabbath School 4 app and the Apple iTunes app, Sabbath School with Percy Harrold. Remember, God is always faithful.